everyone. So we have an interesting persona sitting with us today. I'll quickly introduce him to you and then we'll get into a discussion as to why student entrepreneurship is gaining all the momentum in India and what are the advantages that student entrepreneurs have in the country. So I have Mr. Shivkumar Janardhanan with us, who is the founder and CEO of Spexmojo. He was earlier also the CEO of Essilor in India. Delighted to have you, sir. Thank you so much for taking the time. Everybody is talking about entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And, I want you to sort of zoom a little bit into that ecosystem and talk with regards to student entrepreneurship, right?
Sure.
So, what are your views in terms of students as entrepreneurs? What do you think about it as a concept?
I think, in the earlier generation, there was no concept of student ever thinking of being an entrepreneur because that wasn't there at all as an ecosystem. But I think today when you look at it, we have a great advantages as far as student is concerned to think beyond a normal job kind of a scenario and become a businessman.
Right.
Now this comes out of one fundamental aspect, which is how strong is your idea.
Correct.
If you have a very strong idea, I think students have the energy to pursue it and they have no inhibition of it not becoming a successful one.
Right.
Because as a student, yes, you are every right to fail in some of the steps what you take.
Yes.
But maybe as you become mature, you may not be able to do that because there is always a fear of failure.
Sure. So actually that's a very good point, sir. Fear of failure is not there.
Yes.
Entrepreneurship is gradually getting, accepted in
Correct.
the Indian ecosystems. Parents are okay in
Yes.
terms of letting their, kids become entrepreneurs and things like that. But, my question to you here is, sir, that, a lot of students may just take the path of entrepreneurship because their friends are doing it, right?
Right.
I mean, that's not the right motivation, to start, or become an entrepreneur, right?
True.
So when as a student,
Yes.
when someone wants to evaluate whether they should take the path of entrepreneurship or whether they should take up a more secure job, how should they go about, evaluating that? Because entrepreneurship, we see all the glamour around it, but all of us know that out of 100 startups, only 1% or one of them succeed, right? So it's not an easy journey,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
So entrepreneurship, is not meant for everyone,
True.
right? So as a student at such a tender age, wherein you haven't seen the world, in the sense your exposure is limited, you're still learning.
Yeah.
So, how would you sort of advise the student community as to what are some of the things they should think about, whether, they should become entrepreneurs or they should probably take up jobs and then decide?
I think it all starts from one fundamental aspect. If there is an idea which one wants to pursue, and how passionate and strong about this idea one is all about, I think that actually is what carries them to try this idea out and see whether it can take them through the route of entrepreneurship. It's not that anybody and everybody can jump into this bandwagon and say, yes, I want to become an entrepreneur. No, it doesn't work like that. I've seen probably thousands of kids who, a lot of them want to become an entrepreneur, but their ideation is not very strong.
Correct.
Unless you have a great idea which you feel, yes, it is worth pursuing, and then when you talk about it to a couple of people, yes, it is an idea which is worth exploring and can become a commercial one.
Yes.
Now this actually stems from this fundamental fact where you can go through this idea. Otherwise, a lot of people try out with a half-hearted idea or a thought, but it doesn't actually work out the way they would have actually envisaged.
Right.
So this is fundamental.
Right. Also, in your view, obviously there is National Education Policy 2020 that came in, wherein actually encourages students to become job creators and innovators rather than job seekers.
Right.
So the government is also putting in a lot of effort to sort of bring in that, entrepreneurial instinct early on, right?
Correct.
According to you, what are some of the key things that you'd like to see changing in the Indian education system to sort of inculcate that entrepreneurial aspect within students? What are some of the things that, if you were the education minister,
Yes.
what would you like to do with the education system in India?
Correct. No, I think I again draw the fact what was the earlier generations which went through the education system,
Yeah.
where the whole idea of going to the colleges was you just take your degree or
Yeah.
be professional or otherwise,
Yeah.
and find a suitable job and get onto it and see how the life actually takes you
Yeah.
to whatever distance it takes you. But I think currently where there is such a a system where information today is freely available.
Yeah.
Everybody can make their own choices today. You don't have to tell any student
Yes.
what they need to look for or they need to actually pursue.
Yeah.
Now, being that kind of a scenario, I feel today students, given an opportunity, given the environment, and given the helping hand, I think they will blossom into probably entrepreneurs with a great idea which is worth pursuing.
Correct.
And students alone, I feel, have that energy to pursue it at a greater length.
Yes.
Even if there is even if it's a 1% chance of success,
Yes.
they may actually make it happen.
Right.
Than somebody who will say, maybe halfway through I will just give it up and I may not pursue it further. But
Right.
as student community, we have seen that they have a lot of energy to do that. I think that is what's fundamental aspect which helps them to do.
Sure. So basically, you're saying that students are more resilient
Yeah.
and more, like they can pivot, they can evolve, they can
No, the
change it.
perseverance is something which is there,
Right.
and well, like I said, the fear of failure is actually practically nil in those cases because they will always say, yes, I did try,
Correct.
but it didn't work out. It's fair. It's okay. Yes.
Correct. Got
Yes,
it.
yes.